Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, man, we got a video by Young Mustard titled The 5 Most Overrated Players in the NBA. So I gotta stress enough for you guys, man. I respect people when they make videos like this because as a content creator myself, I know that it's opening up the gates for people to hate on you. But you guys gotta keep in mind this is one man's opinion. And also, you know, it's just, it's all for fun. Like, it don't mean anything. It don't mean anything. So we're gonna check this out respectfully. Link to his channel description below. Let's get him, man. 5 most overrated players. I'm gonna see if I agree or disagree.
In my last video, I talked about the most underrated players
and my mind will be
in the
changed
NBA,
too.
and I got some good feedback from y'all, pretty positive vibes in the comment section. But I'm sure in this video, as always, when I make these kind of overrated videos about players, I'm gonna get some emotional and some negative reactions in the comments this time as opposed to the last video. But that's just how sports fans are.
Yeah, I kind of want to do a video like this, to be honest.
Players, and they hate when you
Sounds
criticize the others. But luckily, I realized that, and I have thick enough skin to understand how you guys will work. And I don't blame you. If you disagree with any of the players I have on this list, then let me know in the comment section and I'll respond to as many people as possible.
Guys. The fact that he is like being respectful towards his audience like that, man, like that's the type of content creators y'all want to watch, man. Like, go subscribe to this man, like straight up. I mean, like that's how I look at it. Like he's respecting knowing that people are going to disagree with him and stuff.
I have to repeat when I make these videos, just because a player is overrated, that does not mean that they are bad. It just
100%.
means that they're seen at a certain level that they should not be seen at. But before we get started, make sure you drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and press that bell for post notifications. We are on the road to 70,000 subscribers.
Getting close, man.
The end of
go get him there, guys. Go get him there, man.
Y'all
got the power.
But let's get things started with the first player on the list, and we have Miles Turner of the Indiana Pacers. Now, when you look across the NBA community and NBA fans, there is a clear difference on how valuable Miles Turner actually is on the market.
All right, I'm gonna give my opinion on Miles Turner real quick. When I see Miles Turner, I see a guy that never lived up to the offensive end of the court. I always thought Miles Turner had the body and the skill set to be just a more bulk scorer in the NBA. His defense, I recognize, is great. I recognize he works in any systematic type of offense because of his ability to stretch the floor and stuff like that. But I will say every year, until recently, I was always waiting for that next jump, offensively speaking. I say he can't have good offensive games, but he never reached the potential that I thought he would.
Is one of the best rim protectors in the NBA, and that's
still a great player.
He's
fits on any team.
Among the top 5 leaders in blocks per game, including this season, and he's actually done it twice, leading the league in blocks in 2021 and in 2019. But I think people consistently overlook the other flaws in his game, especially for someone that is a big man in the league playing the center position for the Indiana Pacers. On the defensive side of the ball, though he is a great shot blocker, he's not an elite post defender by any means. He's relatively average, and he struggles against a lot of physicality in the post. And then you factor in his rebounding, and he's not much of a factor at all. The Pacers,
that's true. I didn't think about the rebounding.
To have Domantas Sabonis over the past couple of years to give them a presence on the glass, because Miles Turner is not going to be that presence at all. He's never averaged double-digit rebounds in his life.
That's actually crazy.
I'll go a step further to say he's never even averaged 8 rebounds in his career. And as far as his offense goes, he's not much of a scorer because he's not putting the ball on the floor. He's not creating his own shot in the post. He doesn't have a post game. He can't put the ball
the best comparison I can think of him as is he's like the center version of PJ Washington. Like PJ Washington plays center, but he's more of a power forward. Like that's what he is. He's like center PJ Washington, or PJ Washington is power forward Miles Turner.
The floor, he's not playmaking. And then as far as his 3-point shot is concerned,
how's his offense been since Sabonis has been gone? I'm wondering.
He can at least space the floor. No, he's not
really
that much of a floor spacer. For starters, if you just look at the raw percentages, Miles Turner is not even shooting league average in most of these seasons. His career 3-point percentage is just short of 35% on less than 3 attempts a game. And if you want to be specific, over the last 2 years, he's attempting around 4 a game, shooting 33%. Turner is not a consistent 3-point shooter, and even if you watch the games and you want to go by the eye test, oh, they're at least guarding him, well, no, you're wrong. They actually leave him open, and there's a reason for that. If you're a stretch big in the NBA, you have to actually provide the spacing. You have to actually have people guarding you and defending you, and Miles Turner, genuinely speaking, does not do that. The numbers and the tape backs that up, and the fact that people believe he's this crazy trade asset that's gonna make anybody he goes to a #1 contender, I just firmly disagree. He has his value, but his value is not as much as a lot of people make it seem. But let's move on.
That was hella convincing, man. Wow, that was good. Okay, yo. My man, Young Mustard. Man, I'm talking about, these channels got foods in their name, man. Young Mustard, some crispy ass flakes. Like, we know what we're talking about, man. We know what we're talking about.
Player on this list, and we have Domantas Sabonis, former teammate of Miles Turner on the
well, Kings now, but I think Sabonis is very good. I still understand like the anger of trading away Tyrese, but also getting I thought Sabonis was going to have an effect on the Kings, and I don't think that's been the case. I site checked; they were not any better with him than what they were with Tyrese, which is not great. But
Sacramento Kings, Domantas Sabonis is definitely, without a doubt, one of the best bigs in the league.
Yes,
I'm not going to take that away from him. He is a former All-Star, and he's not even 26 years old yet. And this year, he was actually having a very productive.
His game's going to age well too.
Looking at the raw numbers, averaging 19 points a game, 12 rebounds and 5 assists, shooting 58% from the field and 73% at the free throw line. It's no surprise why he's held in high regard among the league's best big men. But the reason I had to put him on this list is because I'm seeing a lot more people try to justify this Sabonis to Sacramento trade by looking at his numbers in all-star selections. And I genuinely don't understand why people don't get that he's not worth giving up a young player in Tyrese Halliburton that's already...
I ain't gonna lie, like, I definitely did that. My initial thoughts was, I was looking at it like, wow, Sabonis is like a good player, and that's like what De'Aaron Fox needs. Like, I thought Sabonis was gonna have more of a short-term impact, and he just hasn't. He just really hasn't. Like, he's put up his numbers and everything, but the Kings ain't win no damn championship with Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. It's just not gonna happen. So, I think it was the initial shock of like, oh wow, an All-Star was just traded, as opposed to, wow, an All-Star was just traded for Tyrese Halliburton, which I know a lot of you guys, man, you guys were right. You guys were angry from the start. I was not one of them, but respectfully, I have a better understanding now too, and yeah.
Already averaging 20 and 10 damn near for the
y'all like my new shirt, man?
Pacers. And that's not to say Sabonis is bad. He's good, but he's not worth that because you can't win that much with Sabonis as a focal part of your team, whether he's the number 1 or number 2 option. Sabonis in Indiana was protected by having Miles Turner playing the 5. Though they didn't have the best point of attack defenders, having that kind of help in your front court is definitely going to shield off your defensive weaknesses.
I love his post game though, man. I love a good post game, man.
He cannot defend the 3-point line or the perimeter whatsoever, so on switches he's cooked. Then as far as in the paint, he's strong, but he's not going to stop anyone in the post. The only positive
was Post Malone, did his name come from Carl?
Side the ball is his rebounding, and that is a huge positive, but it is not
Carl be good in the post.
Overshadow all of the negatives he brings on the defensive side of the ball. Then you throw in the fact that he's not spacing the floor, whether from the mid-range or the 3-point line.
He's tried, but it failed.
A disaster. Because the Kings are obviously trying to win now with De'Aaron Fox on this max contract and all these other players around him. They want Sabonis to be that number 2 guy.
You wanna know what Sabonis reminds me of? Sabonis reminds me of unathletic Chris Webber. Which, like, he's still got, like, the skill sets of, like, C. Webb, but he don't got the athleticism. That's kind of what it reminds me of.
Hey, and
it's got the passing and everything.
It's going to work. Sabonis is a great offensive player, really talented in the post. He can pass
tad bit of a midi, but
and low post, and he's a solid post scorer as well. Him and Fox already have crazy chemistry in the post with the 2-man game, but trust me, that's not enough for them to even be a playoff team in the West. And if they do make the playoffs, they're going to be a first-round exit.
Yeah, it's like, what's the goal here, really?
Sabonis's game are not enough for you to make any type of deep postseason runs. Sabonis is not a floor spacer or defender, and look around the NBA. How many contenders or even playoff teams that have bigs that can't shoot and defend? As far as the contenders, I can't think of any, and as far as
my man Young Buster deserves like he deserves 100K right now. Like, this dude
they have Siakam who can do
knowledgeable,
both,
man.
shoot and defend.
This man is knowledgeable.
He's a good player. Like I said, I will repeat again, he's not trash, but he's not impactful enough to be your number 1 or number 2 option, especially if you don't have the pieces to make up for his weaknesses, and then you're going to try to make a deep postseason run. That's just not going to happen, especially when his co-star can't shoot or defend either in De'Aaron Fox. But Sacramento put themselves in this mess, and just watch it blow up in their faces in the future, because trust me, it will. It's the Kings, it always does. But moving on to the next player, we have John Collins of the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay, thoughts on John Collins? I see John Collins as, I think he's a third option on a championship team. I think sometimes he gets in his own way, but like, he is one of those guys that can only play one position. John Collins to me is a power forward. You can run him as center. It's not going to be optimal, but I see John Collins as a power forward. Honestly, I even think he can make the switch to like what Lauri Markkanen does. if the Cavs play a little small forward, like I would prefer John Collins at the 3 at times than I would the center position. But like he's got the things you want in a big guy, offensively speaking. He's got the athleticism, he's got the jump shot. It's just he don't got the it factor all the way. I don't know. I want to hear what he says about him, though.
Now, when it comes to John Collins, I've talked about this in the past, but I just genuinely believe he is not improving at all. I mean, when you look at his career,
he is kind of is who he is.
Where he's improved as a jump shooter, but ever since about his 3rd year in the league, he's been relatively the same. He's a great lob threat that can occasionally space the floor, but that's about it. He's not creating his own shot consistently. He's not much of a playmaker, and on the defensive side of the ball, I would say average at best, but that's
pick and roll
lightly if I'm being real. And
catch and shoot.
There's anything wrong with that, but for the Atlanta Hawks to pay him all the money that they've paid him this past offseason, $125 million.
I will say he did make less money than what I thought he was going to get. Like that. I feel like that contract is a bit more absorbable than what it could have been. I know he was looking for a max, and that would have been a huge mistake.
For the next 5 years to be
huge
exact,
mistake.
I'm sorry, you need to be more than that. And I think a lot of NBA fans overlook it because, hey, he can catch lobs and shoot threes at the power forward position. What more do you want?
Yo, guys, I want to take a quick moment here, man. If you guys are still watching this video, if you're not subscribed to my TikTok, man, I just, I've been posting out a lot of NBA discussion stuff. It's crispyflakes_YT. So I was just checking that out, man. Hope you all check it out too, man.
You need a stretch forward to win in the NBA, right? And I'm not saying those things aren't true, but I think those things are too embellished in and overlook the flaws in his game and his over-reliance on Trae Young to truly be an impactful player. Collins is a good player, but I think he needs to grow in a lot of aspects of his game in order to be worthy of the contract that he currently has. But speaking of guys,
he needs to be a better defender.
Contracts, that leads into our next player, Andrew Wiggins. Now look,
Wiggins of Andrew. Okay, man. Think about Andrew Wiggins. Like, I recognize his numbers were not worthy of an all-star starter spot. They weren't. Andrew Wiggins, shout out to him, a guy that came into the NBA as somebody that was asked to be the next, was compared to the next LeBron James. Nobody's living up to that. Struggled with efficiency early on in the T-Wolf days. I love his role on the Warriors. I think that he's an all-star role player. That's how I look at Wiggins. He just plays his role nice, and I love it. He should not have been an all-star star. Adam Silver got to fix that system. he
Michael
does.
Jordan has had a bit of a career resurgence with the Golden State Warriors. He's improved on the defensive end tremendously.
Which is what I love, the defense, for sure.
Best defenders at his position, and offensively, he's actually pretty efficient from 3 this year and last year as opposed to recent years in his career. And he's also one of the best isolation players in the league. He can hit some moves that's Penny Hardaway-esque for real. And because of his efforts, he was rewarded with an all-star starter selection. And honestly, man, that's really where my problem with Andrew Wiggins begins. Because I think a lot of people just look at Andrew Wiggins.
It's a flaw within the system.
Warriors, and he has improved, don't get me wrong, and they just think that he's earned this all-star selection. And to be quite honest with you, I believe he's one of the weakest all-stars that we have ever had. Because not only do I believe he shouldn't have been an all-star, but he sure as hell shouldn't have been an all-star starter. And I get it, BTS gave him that shout out and he got it because of the fan voting, but it's just ridiculous to me that people even think he deserved to be on the team at all. Because at first I kind of gave him a pass, but honestly looking back on it now, he shouldn't have even been an all-star. He shouldn't have been a starter over Rudy Gobert, and replacing him, it could have easily been somebody like an Anthony Edwards.
Well, which is the crazy disconnect in the all-star voting system, where it's I think we all see that if he wasn't voted as a starter, I don't think he would have made it as the reserve. I don't think he would have got voted in, which is so crazy. It's crazy. It's a weird system. It's a weird voting system.
If you want someone that contributes to winning, because I guess we have to factor that in these days, then go with Jaren Jackson Jr. And I know a lot of K-pop and Warriors fans are going to get mad at me for saying this, but let's be honest, he's somewhat of a product of Draymond Green. Because as of late, Wiggins has been horrible, especially since the All-Star break. Over his last 14 games since February, Wiggins is averaging 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists on disgusting shooting splits of 40% from the field, 35% from 3, and 35% at the free throw line.
That's
heard me correctly.
35%? Ben Wallace.
50% free throw shooting.
And
not only has his offensive production gone down, but even defensively, he's not producing at the level he was earlier in the year or even last year. It's very obvious that the Draymond Green effect, it's worn off.
Dynamic duo.
Sure, it's going to come back later in the season, but I just wanted to let you guys know he is a product of Draymond. The Curry gravity definitely helps, but man, my goodness, the Warriors turned him into so good of a player, people thought he was worthy of an all-star selection. Crazy how life works. But moving on to the final player of this list.
Ooh, Lamelo. Okay, I don't really have much to say about this one right here. I see what Lamelo does on the court, and like I think he's a good basketball player. I want to hear what Young Mustard has to say.
It's the one that I know is going to hurt people the most. We have Lamelo Ball. Now look, I'm a fan of Lamelo Ball, but when I criticize him in this video, trust me, I'm just only applying it to this season in particular. And the way that I believe people are gassing him up over certain players that I believe are just playing better than him this year is just insane. Now, am I saying Lamelo isn't a good player? No.
You can almost block that shit though.
He's a solid player, but I think there are a lot of holes in his game in comparison to other players better than him that people just don't talk about. For starters, looking at the raw numbers, of course, he's a solid, impactful player of 20 points, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds, but people just ignore the efficiency, or should I say...
Is he shooting 36% from the free throw line? Bro, why can't people shoot free throws anymore? I was at the gym the other day, man, made damn 10 in a row, and then I woke up. I ate some chicken nuggets, but you know, in my dream, I still made the free throws.
42% from the field, 36% from 3, and 86% at the free throw line, which accumulates to a true shooting percentage of just short of 54%, which is below league average. And the reason being for that is because he's not efficient everywhere else outside of the three-point line, and he's not even getting to the free throw line that often to even counteract that. Lamelo is a below average shooter at the rim with 53%. In the paint, in the non-restricted area, it's 41%. In the mid-range area, it's 39%.
The flashiness makes him look a lot better.
That
really does.
High with efficiency. And then you factor in the defensive side of the ball, and that's really where the main gripes come in. He's not a good defender in any way, shape, or form yet. And I say yet because
I'm going to say something that's going to offend so many people, but I'm going to say it. Russell Westbrook with flashiness. I'm sorry. I don't think that's true, but it just kind of what came to my mind. Like I was just thinking of like a bad version of Magic Johnson, where you like see like the flashiness, but it's just like everything else is like, whoa, like, what are you doing, man? Like, oh, it's gonna look like on the highlight reel. I'm sorry. Lamelo's great.
Because Lamelo does have the size, the wingspan, all of that stuff to become a good defender in the future, but right now he's not there. And it's been a big weakness of a Charlotte Hornets team that's one of the worst defensive teams in basketball. And the fact that people believe that he should have been an all-star when you have somebody like Drew Holiday who's just playing better than him is insane. Neither of them made it the first try, which okay, I'll give him a pass, but the fact that he was a replacement instead of Drew just blows my mind, honestly. There's no doubt that he's a good player that's productive in multiple facets of the game, but that doesn't mean he should usurp other players that are just playing better than him on both ends of the court, like I repeat yet again, my man Drew Holiday. And it isn't just the Drew disrespect, I'm even seeing others saying he's better than DeJounte Murray, and I'm sorry, he's just not. He's not a top 10 point guard, and something needs to be said for producing on both ends of the court, and that's something that guys like Drew and DeJounte can do while also being efficiently offensively, or should I say Drew can, because DeJounte's a little inefficient himself, but my point still stands. Lamelo Ball is not that great of a shot creator, he's limited offensively as a scorer, and defensively he pales in comparison to a lot of point guards that people believe he's better than already, and trust me, he's not. I believe one day he's gonna get there. He may become a top 10 player in the league, but as of right now,
and I think that's what Young got right about this big time, is like, you know, it's almost like you gotta like do it before you get credit for it. It's like I think we can like see the trajectory of like Melo becoming that great player, and I think he is a good player already. But I do agree with that too, where it's like let's see what he does in 5 years before we give him the title of this great, amazing player over these other guys already.
I'll stop gassing him up into conversations that he doesn't belong in. But that concludes this video.
All right, that is the end of it right there. Very good video. I'm literally like going to Young Mustard's comment and like comment section, like letting him know like he did really good with this. Like that was a really good, just well put together discussion video, man. Like perfect. That's all we got, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace out, my friends.